Well guys, I just got out of the screening of Batman vs. Superman. It is officially 1 a.m. in the morning. It was a 10 o'clock screening. It's the first official screening of the movie. It comes out this Friday. Guys, I'm a little disappointed. And my family's asleep right now, so I'm gonna try not to get too loud, okay? Okay, where do I begin? I was disappointed by this movie. I'm a huge fan of Batman, okay? Guys, you understand there are two franchises that are very near and dear to my heart. You can look at my shelf and pretty much figure out what that is. It's Star Wars and it's freaking Batman, okay? I have been a fan of Batman since I can remember. This is actually a picture of me in front of the Batmobile this is the actual 1989 Batmobile, okay? That's me, that's 7-year-old Omar right there, okay? I'm a big fan of Batman. I'm gonna try to keep my fanboyism down to a minimum and kind of not be so biased, allow my bias of Batman to cloud over my subjectiveness of this movie, okay? Here's how it goes. Batman vs. Superman was a disappointing movie. It was not a bad movie. I'm not even saying that I'm not saying that it's not a good movie. Oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? Okay, let's begin like this. This movie is so freaking disjointed. It's frustrating, okay? This is a 2.5-hour movie. They had plenty of time to build people, build characters, build motivations. This movie jumps all over the place. It goes from Batman, it goes from Bruce Wayne, it goes to Clark Kent, it goes to Superman, it goes to Lois Lane, it goes to Lex Luthor. It's all over the place. Oh my gosh, I was so frustrated while watching it. I was just like trying to understand what is happening, and you never get a clear understanding of people's motivations. The only person you truly understand in this movie is Batman, because that was pretty clear in the trailers. You see Batman, you understand Bruce Wayne is pissed off at Superman because of what happened, because of the first movie, Man of Steel, so you kind of get why he's pissed off at Superman. Okay, that's fine. But the whole motivation by Lex Luthor, like you never quite understand why is he so upset about Superman. Like, I don't know what it was, guys. It's just so frustrating while watching this movie. Oh my goodness. It was blowing my mind that I was disappointed while watching it. And okay, let's be honest, let's be fair, okay? My number one favorite movie of all time, of any genre, of any movie in history, is The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is my number one favorite movie of all time. So I kind of have that in the back of my head while watching these movies about Batman and kind of comparing, I'm trying not to do that, but there's something beautiful that Christopher Nolan did with The Dark Knight that was not accomplished in this movie. Not that it needed to be that, and I'm not trying to compare it in that way. I'm just saying this. If you're a big fan of The Dark Knight, I would compare The Dark Knight as a symphony score, a slow build of nuances, of notes, of music, of build, and it swells and it finally hits the climax and the crescendo, and it's just like this beautiful piece of art. And then you have Batman vs. Superman. It's like a freaking heavy metal song that just goes and it 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 goes. Even the score of I'm trying to use analogies of music to compare. Even the score was like, it was a little too much. Like the score for Lex Luthor was like dun 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 dun, dun. It's like a traditional, what you would imagine a bad guy score to be. And then when Wonder Woman showed up, it was like this weird jungle style. I don't know. It was just strange. It was just odd. It was just very, very odd. I'm trying not to be negative about this, guys, because the movie is not terrible by any means, but this is the first time Batman and Superman have ever been on the silver screen together, okay? This could have been something so special, something very unique, something that has never been done with these types of momentous, large characters. And I think they dropped the ball. I think Zack Snyder dropped the ball. Now, don't get me wrong. Zack knows how to film action. He knows how to create beautiful cinematography, which is what this movie has. The action is pretty well done. The cinematography is beautiful. It's just the pacing is very disjointed. It jumps around so much with all these characters. And you would think, oh, because there's lots of characters in the movie. No, the Avengers didn't do that. And there was like 20 different characters in that movie. All these different people. And like this movie only has like a handful of characters. It just jumps around so much. It goes to Martha Kent, it goes to Lois Lane, it goes to Lex Luthor, it goes to Perry, it goes all these different people. And it's just like, can't you just focus on a few people and just leave those side characters as just pepper them in here and there? Oh man, it was so frustrating. It was so frustrating, guys. Gosh, I was sitting there as the movie was beginning, just in such anticipation. And maybe that's what the problem was. Maybe my expectations were too high. I just think with this property and with these characters that you could have had such an awesome, home run hit with this movie, and I don't think they did that. Like I said, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm not saying you're not going to enjoy it. I'm just saying I was a little disappointed. If I had to give this movie a score, I would rate it. I would still give it a fresh score. I wouldn't give it anything lower than 60%, but barely. I would probably say 63%. That's what I would rate this movie. A 63% movie, when it could have easily been an 80% movie. I already have my tickets. I'm going to watch it again this Saturday. I'm going with my wife and some friends, so we're going to go check it out again. I'm hoping that after sitting through this the second time, that maybe the pieces will come together and maybe I'll be able to, it'll just make sense. But first viewing, watching it in the theater, halfway through it, I was like, why am I so disappointed by what's happening? It was just a very odd feeling because you just feel like it jumps the gun. In the characters, in the characters that they placed in there, Lex Luthor, for example, Jesse Eisenberg did an okay job as Lex Luthor, and I was hoping after seeing him in the trailer of him being so like twitchy and tweaky and like his normal self that Jesse Eisenberg is usually like in all of his movies. I was hoping that there was going to be a more nuanced, darker side of him, not when he's not around other people, but he's not. He's the same way the whole time. He's very jumpy, he's very fidgety, he's very nervous. He's that way through the whole time, and I found his character to be kind of annoying. I was not very surprised, I wasn't very pleased by the way he portrayed him at all. I was hoping that he'd be a little more, I don't know, like a double side to him or something, a more darker tone. And he's definitely crazy, but it's just, I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy his character at all. Ben Affleck did a really good job of Batman. His Bruce Wayne was pretty good as well. He's big, he's hulking, he's brooding. This Batman is definitely a darker, much more brooding Batman than what you're used to seeing in movies. I can totally see how they're going to have an R-rated version of this movie because, and that reason they're having an R-rated version because they had to cut out scenes or sequences of the action because it was too violent to make it a PG-13 movie. And I can see how that is because there's some really serious action stuff going on in this movie to where it's like, wow, I can totally imagine like they extended the scene out a little bit longer. This probably would have been a little violent. They would have definitely have to make an R-rated movie. So this is definitely action packed. There's some really scary scenes too. But Bruce Wayne loves having nightmares apparently. So there's lots of crazy nightmares he has throughout this movie. And and if you're a big fans of the comic books, DC comic books, there's going to be a couple of things in here that you're probably going to understand. If you have no idea and you don't read comic books at all, there's going to be stuff that's happening in this movie and you're like, what the heck was that? Like, you're not even going to understand bits and pieces of what you see because it's just not going to make sense unless you follow the comic book. So fair warning for you guys out there. If you're not big on the comics, just something to put out there just to keep in mind. Gosh, guys, I don't know what to say. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed. Wasn't a bad movie. Wasn't an excellent movie. Maybe it's a good movie. I don't know. I'm going to see it again, like I said, on Saturday. If you guys want to have this, like I said, I didn't want to spoil anything for you, so hopefully I haven't spoiled anything for you as far as anything that's going on in the story. There's tons of stuff happening in this movie that I'm not going to spoil for you. But if you guys want to see a spoiler review of this movie, let me know. After I see it on Saturday, I may do another review and just talk really in detail of the things that I specifically didn't like about it. But hopefully I might change my mind after watching it a second time. So we'll have to see. Anyways, guys, that's my review for the movie. 63% is what the rating I would give it. If you have any questions about this, post them down below in the comment section. If you have seen this movie, if you completely disagree with everything I'm saying, good. Put it in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Let's have a dialogue. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Am I crazy? Is this movie really, really good and I'm just like blinding myself and comparing it too much to The Dark Knight? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stay up to date with all of my movie and tech reviews, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video review.